Thank you very much, Milos. And yeah, we're going to drift on immediately. So we make sure that we keep the pace of our wonderful Portuguese-speaking Brazilian compatriot stream. We find ourselves at Loss versus W7M. Now, Demo, how lost do you think Loss are?
Well, obviously the desk was pretty talkative about the map, as to be fair, it is their job, so I'll allow it. In terms of club, now here's the thing. Obviously, you make the point of, you know, like said, club opens yourself up where anyone can play club, right? Whereas it's different if, you know, W7M are taking loss on a map like Labs, which is a much more difficult map than the way Clubhouse plays out. Everyone knows how to play Clubhouse. The way that sometimes I look at Clubhouse, though, as a map is, it's one of the very few maps that I feel that you can't really cheese, right? As in, rush strategies and stuff like that don't have a great success rate on a map like Club. Usually, cheese rounds are a way that we see kind of the underdogs fight, is they'll play this kind of like Siege that is so unpredictable and wild, and it will net them rounds. You can't really do that on this map. So that would be the main thing that I would, you know, kind of look at it from Lost perspective of thinking, you better play the best Siege of your life, because W7M will not give you anything. W7M, I feel, have been the most punishing team so far in the stage, where if you make one mistake, that team will jump you immediately.
I talked about Scopos yesterday on this map, how I quite enjoy them. They're able to get a kill from the back of it, and they're also able to react to a very quick approach. And, well, they might be about to react to a very quick approach. Instantly eyeing up the chance of a fight on the door here. As Kurtz is ready to sort of get the read-through, maybe get a break. They're hoping that they could have got a kill spraying through the soft, but the Clash has come back. I think they've sniffed. Well, they're nobody else. They're nowhere else. They're probably going to be here. You've still got this attention paid towards the top floor, and Lost are in a good position to do a bit of a break and smash on towards the main approach. But as that drone gets caught out, I think it sort of reveals that we know that you're here. So instead, let's go back to plan A, or maybe it's plan C. Hold the middle, force these players that are roaming on the top floor to fall back in towards you. They're concerned somebody is going to rotate round towards them. They have the watch on the hatch. Now they just have to put the pressure on towards those top four players. And now with the movements in towards Jim, an angle probably going to be opened on towards the door. No, instead, pull their way back. How confident is Parlu feeling alongside whoever else is offering some support there on the rafters?
So steady enough clear at the moment for Loss. It's, have they droned it though? Is he going to be able to check his corner? Oh dear! I swear he's seen his gun. I swear he did.
He did. I was taking a drink. He did. But, I mean, it's easier for us to see. We get, obviously, the outlines and everything. They don't. Lobin was huge yesterday. Opens with 2 kills. And he just defines a game, Lobin. One more. Why not? Hey, Lobin, how about you open with an ace? You're about to have another fight come up towards the top red. There's your fourth. One more, mate. He's coming up rafters. You can't hear me, but I'm sure you'll get fed this from the Scopos cam that is currently just peering an eye. Now he's gone. No, not going to risk it. And instantly finds a clash.
Oh, EMP tech. Where's he going? Hello?
Ooh, okay, gets the fight. There's Lobin for the ace. Everybody, analysts, there's your play of the day. And it just felt easy.
Yeah, just... I mean, already you're just thinking, yeah, why have we went to the club if you can't even clear out somebody in the top floor? That was a basement defense. All the action was at top floor. They couldn't deal with a single roamer, just sat upstairs in cash. Yeah, very confusing. I think the confusing kill there for me was the guy who walked up red stairs and didn't expect Lobin to be there, even though he just killed his teammate in that exact same position. I think that was the weird bit for me.
All right, Loss. That wasn't the best start. I guess we'll see how we start to progress from here. Lobin was very comfortable getting everything locked in and just letting them sort of batter against the cliff face that is them and Parlo on the top floor. tried to get themselves struck in early on, sort of pulled back, had a cautionary tale of this could go wrong, and then things went wrong elsewhere. So, what lessons can be learned from that other than let's scrub that one off? Double shields, taking a rare opportunity currently in the game with the thermite being the single removal. They've got the Blackbeard, got the blitz, but can they get a body out of it?
So, loss. They have decided to double down on their shields as they have a Blackbeard and a blitz now coming to the fray of things. Dots has died. I'm guessing that's from a spawn peek, and will be punished by Kurtz on that Twitch, who will start to open up the hatch as well with that DMR, of course. So yeah, with the double shields on this top floor, it does give yourself plenty of options in terms of taking ground. The shields are great at going both sides of the map. You can obviously use that to clear away areas such as cache very efficiently, and you can also use it to start probing areas such as the breach and then in towards bathroom. So yeah, the shield should play a pretty big part. Obviously there is going to be a pretty hard counter to the shields in the form of the clash, which will have to be dealt with, but you kind of look at the lineup though from Lost and you think, how do you deal with the clash?
Well, that's the problem they'll try and solve here, is obviously Dots is gone, but well, they're the only death in the previous round as well. So although Loben's like, yay, Dots is like, no, in how their game has started here. Gets them their second kill though over the 2 rounds. Can they try and push the pressure on, get themselves one more? The Twitch drone trying to just eke its way inside. Does find a slip past the mute jammer, but doesn't really get anything further than that as of yet. They're cautious about where the players seem to be here. Now, there could be some pressure that comes in from underneath. 2 C4s can do a lot of damage, especially if Dota's of the Clash is reading any of that, or Palu tucked behind the mirror window. They cannot just throw themselves in and hope they can get things stuck without having that vertical control as well. This C4 over the top, double down. 1 grenade goes one way. They're just going to tuck out of it, because that will not breach because of the mute jammer, but it does give them the excuse to get themselves in. This grenade should get rid of the mute jammer on the other side, and now the wall will start to pop open. They are so ready, but not quite sure how they want to try and put the pressure onto the problem. Loben takes a lot of damage as he rotates his way around in towards Jim, but gets locked out by Furious, who takes all the rest of the control. Now, with 1 more kill tucked into the corner, the 4 versus 2, they flooded their way in. They're going to put the pressure on towards the Clash, and this should be all they've wrote, but it's Palu left against 2 shields here and a Twitch. The C4 won't quite catch anything. 15 seconds though, and they need to try and put the plant down. They've taken as much information as a shield either direction they go in. Blinded, but knocked the shield. Doesn't take much more than that, and well, that's why 2 shields are often not allowed in a round.
Yeah, actually used to be way back in like year 1, 2, 3, there actually used to be a Pro League ban where you were only allowed 1 shield at one time. And back then, Blackbeard, even still with just the shield he had on his face, counted towards that, even though he wasn't like a full shield operator. So I'm sure Blackzine and Fox and stuff, you know, they would have played with that back in the day. Blackzine would have probably been playing it on Xbox as well. So yeah, just a nice little bit of history there for you. But yeah, the double shields, just... what can you do? The guy inside a Logi, my goodness, you talk about rushing down somebody. That guy got absolutely minced. 1 shield on each side coming at him. But yeah, Lost, look, you get the opening pick, and they just took their time until things were ready. You know, they went through the process, they went step by step, they had everything ready to go, and then it's just a 3, 2, 1, send the shields in, they'll do the rest of the work for you. So yeah, good round from Lost, like to see it. Now we head actually not back to a repeat. You know, typically you would see, you know, teams like to repeat their site, go again, even though they just lost it. For w7m, it's just immediately switching away from Jim and straight over now to the other side of top floor, over towards our cache now.
Yeah, over towards cache. I mean, you know, if it's a site that's had as much story with this map as this map has had story with the game itself, right? For a long time, it was the first preference. It got a bit thin. It got a bit known. And now, as we've got the limitations on obviously the Monty and the hard breach, it's also still just kind of known at this point. These weren't unfamiliar bands back before we had the new ban system put in place, they'll still get a sort of standard apprehension here. The question is, can they try and get control of rafters? You've got the ADSs, the chance of trying to waste some time here, the call anyone that comes in, and the keeper barricades to just keep things aggressive, as w7m like to do. They're not directly countering the hard breach walls. Those will get popped off without so much drama. Here as it's either side, and this will make things fall apart, but it's always a question of when more than if getting this wall open anyway. There's going to be an impact trick attempted. Not entirely sure if it connected. It did not, because it got a lot trickier to do. Now, with that open and a lot of time left, where are Lost going to try and strike next?
Well, again for Lost, it's seeming pretty slow and methodical. Just want to make sure that they can clear away all these little bits of util. They will get that bit of barbed wire. That castle barricade's still up. Is it not just thanks to a nade as well as also was able to take out a Flores drone? So that castle barricade seems to be pretty indestructible at the moment. So a bit of an issue there for Lost, but I think the bigger issue is going to be whenever they get to Garage. That catwalk is looking pretty fortified. You've got the Azami, you've got the ADSs as well from the Jaeger up there. 2 players on rafters also. Not too easy for them.
Well, as the spray comes out and the trade starts to explode over CC, it's back and forth, but lost the most here. They could not quite get their feet in, and, you know, 30 seconds ago, every single player was still standing. Now there's less than a team. And it just shows how quickly push comes to shove in here and how they just weren't prepared for the hold that w7m that had a lot of trade games and a lot of sort of concise lockdown and approach. Up towards the top of red, waiting for the first engagement. Doesn't quite see Dots' angle. w7m keep themselves ahead.
Yeah, good hold. Again, plenty of util that the attackers just couldn't get the grips with. They almost just tried to ignore the guys over towards Catwalk entirely, and they tried to force all of the pressure coming up through red stairs. Now, the issue with red stairs is it's a chokehold. It's a one-way avenue. All you have the staircase. There's no window to try and support you in a crossfire. It is just, it either works or it doesn't. It is full steam ahead. And whenever it doesn't work, everything falls flat at that stage. So, strange approach there from Loss. Is a little bit lazy. You know, surely if you're going to go to a map like Club, you should be well versed in dealing with an Azami and Jaeger inside rafters. Yes, I know it's a very difficult thing to do, but surely if you're on Club, you should know how to do that.
It's like those arguments that we had on the desk, right? About fundamentals, about how important they are on approaching the map, and about bringing yourself to a map like this against a team like this, is you have to have those nailed, because your opponents will. It was often cited Clubhouse as the sort of maker of a team. It's the baseline. It is, and for a long time was, team's first home. And, you know, it's early doors still. It'll be another test here. Now we get to see the other side of it, right? How will these bans, with another hard breach removed, with Cabana going to make this a bit more tricky? The approach from Lost has to be aggressive, right, Demo? They have to either try and full send it up top, or they have to try and full send it potentially underneath, potentially onto dirt. And you look at their lineup and you're like, you're getting an idea of what they want to do here.
Move into, of course, this basement, and this was around where Lost just couldn't clear a single guy, and he aced them. Simple as that for Lobin. Albeit Lobin hasn't actually got a kill since that first round. The past 2 has not been able to net any.
He can rest.
For Loss, I suppose, yeah. But still, I think for w7m, we want to see that guy just keep ramping up, don't you? You know, get an ace every other round would be acceptable, I think, at this stage, Lobin, if you can manage that. Obviously, for Loss, having issues with those roamers, they've decided now to bring in a hefty amount of util for these roamers. You've got the Ying, you've got the Grim, and you've got the Blitz. These 3 operators are just going to make Lobin's kind of existence a bit of a misery, because dealing with all that ain't too fun, because literally they're going to be sending you the 10 plagues of Egypt at you, just everything they have. However, right, I'm confused. Why have they went for that whenever you know he's above?
Well, they hoped that the blind would come through and would stop that happening. As we see, the Candelas had no effect. So now they're going to have to reapproach and reassess. They've lost the Grim, which is one of those sort of claws on the front of a strike. But also, again, you know, it's just... Look at how they're moving. You can see they're trying to talk about what to do next. You can see that they are, and again, I hate just using this, lost. Because they don't really know where the weak link on the hold is, and sometimes you just have to try and make one, especially with the lineup that you have here.
Can I say something? Can I?
Yeah, it's your job.
Why not use that Ying to kill the Frost? That's what I don't get. Why? I mean, Blitz is going to walk down in towards blue, but there's nothing he can do as he's going to be locked off by all the fire that's going to be spewing out from those Goyo canisters. A loss once again, hitting a bit of a brick wall. Somehow the Goyo's up doing a bit of a jig on the table, and Arthur's been able to get into the back of AK's here at the moment. His other two teammates are going to be sanctioned off from him, though, as one's going to be separated over towards Dirt, the other towards main stairs, and down goes the player over towards AK's. Main stairs going to be swung on by Lobbin, and they know the other one is going to be in towards Dirt. He actually dies to another Goyo canister, and Kurtz all by himself, bottom of main stairs, a BP looking directly at him. Gonna have to go big in the clutch, but we know w7m, we know the quality off them. They're not gonna let this one slip.
No, they're not gonna hand this to him. And yeah, the fact that we saw Legacy lose pretty much all of his health in the first Goyo and then end in the second one sort of shows how well prepared w7m were for a quick strike. There was a little bit of a bold and brazen move by the Blitz, breaking their way down onto blue, but it was helped a bit by keeper barricades. The Goyo, as you said, having a fun time up on the counter, but it bought time for the others to get in because the Ying couldn't add the pressure as a lost caller timeout. The Ying couldn't assist that Blitz, which meant that they couldn't push in and take the site, which meant that the player down in main that was holding a rotate just had to sort of wait, which allowed the player to, I think one of them dropped kitchen hatch potentially to offer some support and get back into the fight closer. And yeah, I mean, you said Loban hadn't had any kills since the first. He's got himself another 3 for his tally.
Oh boy. Well, obviously for loss, it's not good. They look as though they're trying to skip steps in Clubhouse. You know? It's very, very strange. A lot of basic stuff isn't being done. You know, allowing that first kill to come in. Just go and kill the guy. You brought in those operators. Just Ying and Grim and Blitz. Get him. You know, free kill. Lobbin can't do anything against that. He's not Warden. And then they almost try and shoulder barge their way in through blue and dirt at the same time, but completely forget there's a Goyo on the side, and that just messes up any kind of rush. The hard map to cheese. That's what I mentioned. It's difficult.
No, I'm not going to say it's an impossible map to cheese.
I've seen it done. Team Secret is a team who do it pretty well. But again,
at the same time, it's like it doesn't feel. It feels like they're bringing parts of a play, but not doing the full play. It feels like they have a very confident idea during operator selection, but then when it comes to actually making it land, they realize, you know, the sort of force that they're up against. They're trying to run it, and things just sort of fall a bit to the wayside. And that is when w7m love to activate. They love to sort of play in the other opponent's fear, and you know, they were molded in this game, Demo. They were born from it. They didn't adopt it.
Oh, Batman.
Ah, Batman.
You're supposed to cover like your mouth, aren't you, and do it with your hands.
Batman, 3 to 1.
There you go.
What will you do, love? They will go for the breach. No, they won't. Mute's jammed, and still can get rid of that and maybe try and pull it up. Obviously, the way those arc nowadays is there might still be a way to put one a bit out of place. It's whether they think they have the utility as a cost. They might. They do have a couple of pocket tin openers in Legacy's pockets as long as they don't get caught here. But it seems like they want to put a bit of earlier focus on towards the other side. Maybe pressure onto Jacuzzi, maybe onto the windows.
So it looks as though they will be trying to clear over towards CC and Cassius based on the position of the Blackbeard. He's going to look to jump in straight through the window and a grass maybe. Oh, C4. Close so from Volps, but will get taken out before he can pop it. Nade will finish him off as well. So yeah, good start from Lost. They have an idea of what they want to go for. That Blackbeard, of course, being a bit of a menace. Again, that operator we mentioned before, it's an age really for me, and you can see how strong he is as a shield, just to walk up to a window and safely nade away util, safely nade players. Just really, really strong.
Now the angles start to get opened up and they have that early body, but Volps' game and position on the other side as two shields smash their way through a castle window is to sort of lean into that. Lean into the play on the other side of the map. Didn't want to go down as early as they did, but, well, as they get themselves a route slightly safer out, will they try and play against the shields bashing? They will. The C4 doesn't get it on the castle or through it. Now with that opened up, they'll pick themselves back up, try and drive logistics potentially. No. Change of plan once again out of CC and instead look across. The Grimbies might reveal a player on the swing here of Logi. It's Dodez in a very aggressive swing chance as the pings come out. There's the reveal at least of the player, the drop of the bees. They haven't entirely moved. I think a drone might have got the spot anyway. What will they do here, Demo?
I think they're just going to try and brute force their way in with the shields, of course, but w7m this time in much better positions to engage against them, and 5 kills, Fluke, within the matter of 2 seconds that happened for them. Look at that from... Oh, what a shot as well. Fully blinded by the Fenrir also. My, oh my. I mean, w7m, that's just... What can you say about them? It's clinical again. The way that they can just set themselves up in those positions and just a landslide of kills on their side. Everyone getting the kills, everyone doing their job. Yeah, just such a strong team. It's what we expect from them at this stage, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, is what you expect from, I guess, any of these matchups where you have a team where you're like, this is one of the top dog teams of the region against one of those teams that's fighting their way up to prove it and put some pressure in. It's just a lockdown. And it's not that, as I said, Lost don't have ideas, but they are finding fear when they actually get to putting them into practice, and that is something that w7m just get. It's aura farming a game here, and it makes things very tricky to go against. 4-1 could become a 4-2, but obviously this site as well, if the fundamentals, if that final push is where things are failing for Loss, there's a chance that we'll be on the 5-1 half here, Demo.
Yeah, big chance. Big chance for w7m to take a very healthy lead going into that second half of the game. So Loss are up against this CC hold again, and last time they just tried to ignore the kind of general things that you like to do as the attacking side, mostly being taken towards garage. They were very lazy, they tried to ignore that and flood their way up red stairs. I really hope this time they will, do the extra bit of work to clear away those guys in towards catwalk. Ots has opened up with the first pick. I don't know where that's from. It had to be somewhere downstairs, maybe over towards stock, perhaps, or towards main door. Was able to take a swing and take out that Ash. And now Ash would have been a pretty good operator to have to obviously clear away the castle setup from below, and even maybe rotate over and start looking to try and pop some of the Azami barriers as well over towards rafters. So losing, a decent amount of utility there for this side. In goes to Flores, who will have to do a lot of work because, like I mentioned before, with the util on the side of w7m, he has a big job to do. A lot of drones to be sent in.
Now, with obviously the Ash removed, and as you said, a lot of work still to be done, it just feels like w7m are playing this one very patiently, right? They're not giving Loss any ground. They're not giving them any freedom. They've stacked themselves up in a very default hold that we talk about. As I said before, the ADSs and the keeper barricades up here are going to make things very problematic. Now, you've got a lot of work on the side of Legacy to get in underneath it and get that pressure over the top. The Flores drone can do some bits here if they can get one into a nice position, but they've got to offer a little bit more than just blind faith that running past the door won't get you shot in the side of the head. Here's that Capitao entrance from underneath I talked about. You've got to play against what you're expecting here. I still kind of want a Flores drone to roll in first, but I guess the work is being done elsewhere. The first catch of an ADS, and they're going to just find a free pick. Dodez drifting on by, finds a Holden, and where are you looking? Legacy! Staring off into Narnia, and Dots gets one more, and well, I said they were giving them a bit to play with. They wanted that over sooner rather than later, Demo.
Just too easy for them, isn't it? I mean, again, can't deal with the guys inside a garage once more. It was basic stuff. It really is. And like I said, before we moved into this matchup and we were talking about the map, obviously the desk had their thoughts. You have to play this map perfect if you're up against the side of w7m. You know, on w7m, all they need is just that little bit of a sniff that you're showing a sign of weakness. You know, it's almost like they are, you know, the lion in the savannah, and they have seen a what do lions hunt?
Zebra?
I was going to say a deer, but they don't live over there, do they?
A zebra is a kind of deer, like a flamboyant deer.
It's more of a horse. No, it's more of a horse than a deer.
It's a flamboyant horse.
What is it? It's springbok. Is that it? Is it a springbok?
I think they maybe also hunt those. Listen.
Yeah.
Let's just say yes, you can finish your analogy.
It's they see gazelle. That's the one. They see an injured gazelle and they're like, I'll have that. Come over here. And that's it. That's the w7m operate.
Yeah, I mean, you got there in the end, and I agree. Like a zebra, like a gazelle, like a springbok, they are all delicious for w7 to eat. And at this point, double hard breach removal. You know, sure, they're a team that wanted to try and abuse and utilize the double shield thing. At the minute, that's not really going to be what comes through from the side of w7m because it's a map of fundamentals, and they're going to bring pretty standard setup here to deal with the electricity. The Kali, you know, can make some use, but it makes things calmer. There isn't any specifically, but hey, what can you use a Kali against? The shield could be quite fun of Clash, the pressure elsewhere, and maybe a quick break or anything else like these windows. You also have the Habana pellets to help steady your way through. Palu on the Deimos getting in underneath on all the soft here on Jim. You know, it's a lineup that sort of screams towards fundamentals, but isn't a fundamental lineup, if that makes sense.
Next up, for w7m, it will be on their attacking side, and again, for them, they're going to try and remove a lot of these early util using the Kali to great effect of removing the castle barricades, and also the nades coming in from the gridlock. Nade landing right beside the Clash, but again, she has legs. She can easily move away from that and can simply fall back into sight. I think for w7m, it's just it's how quickly can they remove the util, and then they start looking for their opportunities. They start probing about the site. They look for those weak points. In terms of util that they still have left, you've still got 2 nades on the side of Palu. On that Deimos, of course. You've got all the track stingers also. You've still got flashbangs from Thermite and Habana. So still a lot that w7m have in the pocket. And for loss, they've kind of lost that first layer, haven't they? They've kind of been forced back into the bomb site now. There is alert, though, from the Mira. Roaming Mira. Don't see this all too often, but Kurtz is downstairs inside of Oil Pit, and we'll see if he can make something happen.
I mean, Palu isn't a million miles away. They're holding on to blue, I think hoping that there was a roamer underneath. You wouldn't expect a Mirror, but you might expect somebody, and that's the position Palu is currently playing, because he can still assist with the pings. Dots does get that opener. And with no more Kiwa barricades going to spawn in place, and with a minute on, this is almost the other side of this, right? Think how long w7m would often dig their heels in, sometimes to their life, to give out territory. Here, Lost pulled back, and they're able to make some of it work. Lobin, gone. The Kali, who was just trying to pick fights outside, is gone, removed. Not entirely sure if Jacuzzi is open, but as the others step in, Dots pops the heads of Outlaw. Dodes gets Kurtz. And they just keep going. The Clash is sure getting some of the reveal, but they almost don't fully care. It's just a Clash left. They're blinded. Dodds is going to get the plant. They're not entirely going to throw themselves in, but Palu will do Palu things. 6 rounds now here. w7m. I mean, they are just driving this one to the end. Yeah, quick game is what we have. And I think one more round should do it. Lost just look as though they've got a bit nothing left. w7m, just that snowball has rolled with them for the past 5 rounds. The last round they dropped was round number 2. They have been perfect from then. You know, just
Ken, what can we say about W7M that we already haven't? This is one of the top sides in this league. They will be competing for that, top 2 position. You would expect alongside FaZe. I just think with the way that FaZe and W7M have both performed, I can't wait until we see that game. And I'm pretty sure that's the final game of the season, which just makes it even more impressive. Is that we have to wait all that time, and it could be a case, Fluke, where both of the teams have beaten everyone except each other. It could come down to the final play to decide who becomes number 1, which I think would just be immaculate.
I just had a quick scroll. You're almost correct. FaZe versus W7M isn't the last game of the season. It is on the last play day. It's the second to last game of the season.
Yeah,
the last. No. But I think it's very fun because it's the second to last game of the season. The actual ultimate game of the season, which could end up having a bit of a coin flip to it as to whether you get out of the bottom of the board, and they might still pull themselves up. There's a lot of play days. Is Liquid versus Loud, and both those teams,
big orgs, not looking too good.
Lackluster performances, but it is still early. There's at least 15, if not 18 points to still play for. And W7M, they're going to try and put some of that distance. There's long-range flashes, the pressure on towards any players that want to stick around in bar, and it's Furious that's trying to get out of there. Free to move out, but you can see again, how little W7M had to do there to clear the roam.
Yeah. Really easy for them. Again, I think that just comes down to the confidence of loss. Look at the kills. After 7 rounds, the highest number of kills in one player is 4. Doesn't fill you with a whole lot of confidence to really want to try and go for a roam game and contest against some of these W7M players who are just killing everything that moves. So, yeah, just nothing's going right for loss here at the moment. Paulu catches out Outlaw, and this is what I mean by how punishing they are. You make one mistake, you're dead. That's just the way this team operates.
Well, we might have had one of the longest games yesterday, but we could be ending on one of the shortest here. Loss versus W7M is now with a body into their favor, and the pressure's starting to open up underneath. Once again, they lose keeper barricades earlier on, which is going to make things awkward in the longer run of the round itself. They're still playing with the smokes to try and, refuse to get the plant. They have the echo. They're going a bit hands-off, but to be honest, that's not the big concern right now. You can see that they're all sort of juggling direction, wondering where the next bit of pressure is going to come from. But in the meantime, with a minute left, W7M, they're fine to go at their steady on pace here. They're looking to bait a little bit more movement, a little bit more angst from it now, with the Hibana potentially chancing some of the pressure here alongside the Capital on towards the hatch itself. The C4 is an important one to maybe get a bite onto a player who's drifted away, hasn't stuck around. The Gon 6 all the way to the back line. 30 seconds, more of the work is done, more of the pressure pulled out. Here is the start of the explosion. Now Echo is being cooked alive somewhere in a Capital bolt, I assume. The blinds come out and they do get a trade out of it. Kai's and tries to get the second, cannot. Dodes gets one more, leaving just Arthur, but not for long. Does a trade, but W7M just take that clubhouse as if it was another step